Hi, Lexi Daly here with this week's episode of Make It Monday for Paper Tray Ink. Today we will be making Matchbook Valentines. So when I was looking for an idea for this week's Make It Monday, I came across this little matchbook card that I created back when Cupid's Arrow was released. I created it out of a half and half die cut, and I filled it with paper. I also think it would be a great size for an individually wrapped lifesaver or something like that, but I didn't have candy on hand at the time if I remember correctly, so I was thinking it would be great for a little mini coupon book for Valentine's, or just, you know, a cute little message inside would be fun too. The Matchbook Fold is a tried and true oldie but goodie, but it is one that I come back to every now and then just because it's fun and a little bit different from a typical card. And it would make a cute card, but it's also perfect for candy packaging, which is what I thought I'd share today, along with a few other ideas at the end of the video. So let me show you what I have for today. We are going to package M&Ms because this is very easy to do. It doesn't require a lot of materials, so it's ideal for classroom Valentines if that is something you have to do next month. So first, I look at my packaging. I like my matchbook to match the size pretty closely so that there's not a lot of extra space and so that it's nice and snug. So the first thing I do is just check out what kind of finish size I need the card to be, the matchbook to be. So here we have our fun size M&Ms. They already come with a to from, which is actually handy for the way, for when you package it. You can have your child fill that out if you want them to, or you if you're giving them to kids or grandkids, or somebody else. So here is another reason why I love having a grid pad on my desk. These are 1-inch squares with a 1/4 inch on the inside. And so this is 3 by 4. So I know that I'm going to need at least 8 inches for the front and the back. Actually, the front is slightly shorter to be able to fit into the flap, but let's just start with knowing that we need 8 inches. And then we probably need a little, for this size, I would go with 3/4 inch flap. I don't always do the math this way. Sometimes I just eyeball it on my paper cutter, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I did do the math earlier, so I do know that I need 8.5 inches by 3, which the 3 we got when we put it on the grid, and then the 8.5 came from the 4 plus the 4 plus a little bit for the flap. And so what we're going to start with right here is I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch for this flap. Depending on the size of the matchbook I do, this one is obviously less, and I think I just measured that to my sentiment. And then I have some where I've done up to 1 inch, but I think that for most sizes 3/4 inch is good, and then if you need it smaller you can trim it. And once you know your whole size, that makes it easy for your mass producing part. But when you're just doing one or figuring out your first one, this is kind of what I do. So I already knew that I needed 4, but I put it on there, and it is confirmed that I need 4. So if it was something else, I might just take my fingernail and press it in and then move it over and score it. But since I know it's 4 for this one, I'm going to turn my paper around, line it up at the 4, line up the score line at the 4, and score again. Now I want a little bit of a vent for my candy, so it's not too flat. Although with the M&Ms I've done it both ways, which I'll also show you at the end of the video. But I just want a little bit, so I'm just going to go to this 1/4 inch line and do another score so that I have that little flat top at the top to make it more like a matchbook. So let me get my paper cutter out of the way. And since all of my stamping is added on top of the basic card, I'm just going to go ahead and assemble it now. But if you are stamping directly on the card, you might want to do that first and then assemble. Although I've assembled first and just stamped this way too. So that's your preference and what order you like to do things in. You know, there's never a right or wrong way. There's just your way. So we're going to go ahead and put these flush to the inside of the flap. And I'm going to push my M&Ms up so I don't smash any of them. And then fold the flap over. And then you need to staple it just once here, once here. I think this one is good for 2 staples because of its width. I've done a bigger one where I needed 3, and I do a lot of smaller ones where I need 1, which the half and half die really just needed the 1. And then you have your 2 scores at the top, and there you have your basic matchbook. Now, I turned my paper the opposite way. This is just one of those little details that bothers me, but I turned my paper the other way, so my edges were bending up a little. So I'm just going to press those down with my score tool. And one more right there. And let's close it up. Okay, so now for embellishing and decorating. I always do something to cover the staples. So in this case, for this design, I went with washi tape because it's sticky and easy. But as you saw on the half and half die, I added my sentiment there, so I did a strip of paper. I'm just going to trim this off. And trim this one. Just put that aside. Okay. And I'm just going to set this aside really quickly, and then we'll do our other stamping. When I'm stamping a strip and I want it to be kind of consistent, more than one, in this case I have 2, I often just stamp at the bottom of a piece of scrap extra cardstock, and then I cut it more perfectly to size, just in case I don't get it too straight or I don't have both of them even. In this design, there are 2 strips that I want to be fairly consistent. So they're both, I need them to be, these to be a little bit closer to the edge so I can just be more precise about how I want them to cut. And I eyeball a lot. So here, this 3/8 of an inch was the perfect size that I came up with. And so I'm just going to eyeball the bottoms. I think I need to get a little bit trimmed off there. And then again, my 3/8 of an inch. And they're pretty consistent. All right, the one last thing I want to do is glitter up my heart. Let me burnish it to make sure that the adhesive is nice and tight. Perfect. And now my little desktop sugar bowl. I saw this on Instagram and had to have one because I love glitter so much. And there we go. Let's just, again, make sure to press it all in without getting fingerprints on it. And now let me set it aside and I will assemble. And there you have it. A super quick and easy stamped matchbook cover that you can easily reproduce. Of course, you can make the design to match something that your child is into, and you can make it to fit any other candy that you can find that is somewhat flat, has an area that you can staple. And I'll show you some of the other ideas that I had. Oh, and really quickly too, the M&Ms don't require the little venting space. I like it. I did one without just to show you, and it is nice and snug. This one might have a little bit more wiggle room, but it fits just perfectly too. And that's another simple design using this almost the same supplies, the same stamps certainly. Okay, here is one that was created to match the York Peppermint Patty Hearts. That was one where I just put it on. I used my grid pad to decide on a width. I put it on my paper cutter and I just, eyeballed the lines, came up with the size, and now I would know the size for mass production. This one I used some of the pencil papers. I'll show you that. They're already sticky, so like washi tape, it was a good solution for covering the flap. And because of its width, I went ahead and covered the back so that I could use it for the child to add the to from, and then we stamped Happy Valentine's Day on the back. So that's just another candy. I also did a slightly bigger venting area at the top for the width of the candy, so I didn't want it to get smushed. Okay. So you're not just limited to candy. Well, first of all, here was the one with the paper. You could have just one card in here with your message, and it could be the card. You could make one that, this is a great little thing to have in your purse with little extra paper that you want to tear off because it's covered and protected. But here's one where I put nail stickers in it. You could do any stickers. I just, the packaging at the store wasn't that great, and I thought it would be fun as an alternative to a candy Valentine. To have little stickers. This one was created with just papers and stamps from the 1980 Stamp Affair kit. This one, in addition to the pencil papers, I used Give Me a Hand for these two. I also used Cupid's Arrow here and a to from another set. And then this one is actually has a toy inside. There were these little mystery packs, marble mystery packs, and immediately when I saw it, I knew it would have to be your superhero Valentine. So this, you could definitely, if you're making this for a lot of people, you might not want to have this this much paper on it, but you can stamp out pieces and do a design that's more similar to these. But for this one, I wanted to go all out with the comic strip paper, a little bit of stamping. I needed the word Valentine, so I stamped and separated these and added Valentine across the top. So Valentine, you're super. You could also do the to from on the back here, and you could make this strip fit over, but I kind of liked the comic book feel of it with the other boxes and the color blocking idea that the comic strip gives. So that's all of what I have for you today. So candy, not candy, other gifts, and really just for a simple card or a purse stash of paper. This is a great, good old folding technique that's been around for a long time, and I'd love to see what you will do with it this week. Thanks, have fun. You can find all the information you need to play along and link up over at Nicole Hetty's blog. Happy stamping! This has been Lexi Daly for Paper Tray Inc. Bye!